going on, everyone? This is Mike Colleen, MikeColleen.com. I have got some news, and this is not going to be like my other videos. In fact, it has nothing to do with my business. It's a favor I'm going to ask of you. I'll tell you what the favor is first, and then I'll explain why, okay? I'm going to ask you to, before I say that part, I am a huge UFC fight fan, and you know what? I never mention it. I never mentioned the fact that I fought for years, boxing, kickboxing. I was ranked #1 in the IKF for like 22 months or 2 years or something. I was state champion of boxing. I studied martial arts since I was 4 years old. Started competing in boxing when I was 8 years old, and on and on and on. Boxing, wrestling, football, kickboxing, Muay Thai. And I actually fought and trained under Jacob Stitch Duran for more than 5 years. I was an assistant coach trainer, I should say, at a school in Fairfield, and I also was an assistant manager for a school for a brief period of time towards the end before he moved to Las Vegas and got involved with the UFC. So, something went down yesterday. It's pissed off a lot of people. There is a firestorm going on right now in the media, social media, Facebook, Twitter. My Facebook page is just lit up, and I mean, it is absolutely lit up. My personal page, not the one that I have on my website. That's a separate page. It should be. My Twitter page is lit up, and here's what's going on. The UFC canned Jacob because here's what happened. Now, if you haven't followed the Reebok deal, the UFC made a deal with Reebok, and only Reebok now can be sponsored inside the octagon in the UFC. All the fighters lost all their sponsorship deals. Yeah, they're getting reimbursed a little bit, but it's like peanuts. So if you're a fighter making 60, 80, 100, over 100,000 like GSP, Anderson Silva, and on, guess what? You're not allowed to wear your logo in the ring anymore, or logos at all. You're not allowed to have your banner. You're not allowed to put the t-shirt on after the fight. None of that stuff is not allowed. So they're making zero money from their sponsorship now. And they're getting reimbursed very little. The low-level fighters are getting like $2,500 sponsorship, which is nothing. I mean, what if you were making $10,000, $15,000 a fight on your own sponsors? All right, fighters that are more experienced, I think it's between 5 and 10 or 5 and 15 fights in the UFC, they're getting $5,000. That's nothing. Those fighters were making, some of them were making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 per fight in sponsorship alone. Now they lost all that, and on and on. The top level fighters, only if you're in a championship fight are you going to be paid $15,000. That's it, max. Those guys that are #1, #2, #3 in their division, #5, those guys were making over $100,000 a fight. Why would they give a shit about losing, #1, losing all that money and only getting $15,000? That's bullshit. I've bit my tongue. I didn't give a shit until yesterday. My coach, Jacob Stitch Duran, my former coach, who I used to fight for, and I worked at a school and trained people, etc. Now when I say fight, I was ranked #1 in the IKF. I won Fight of the Year. I was a state champion in boxing, wrestling champion. I wasn't as good as these UFC guys, but I was committed in fighting for about, I don't know, was that 20 years, okay? And I never talk about my fighting, or I never talk about the UFC, but this time I think I'm going to ask you guys to ban the UFC and do a couple other things, and here's why. Jacob got interviewed, right? He's done a lot of interviews over the year, and they asked him, well, how is this Reebok deal going to affect the cut men? And he goes, we just lost all our sponsors. They're not allowing us to wear a vest with our sponsorship logos on them, so we just lost all that. He was making more money from a sponsorship than what they were paying him per fight, or per event, I should say. And so he loses all that freaking money. All right, and this is all he said. He goes, yeah, we just lost all our sponsorship money because they're not allowing us to wear our logos into the ring anymore. All right, #1. #2, he said we went to the higher-ups and we asked them, hey, is Reebok going to reimburse us at least a little bit like they are the fighters? And they said, no, there's no money for you. That's all he said. He also said, he goes, I don't think UFC did this to be mean. I don't remember the word, but hurtful or something like that. He was being very positive towards the UFC. He wasn't being negative. He wasn't saying, screw the UFC. He wasn't doing anything like that. And they ended up canning him. The worst part about it, Dana White, who hired him, who started in the business with Jacob about 18 years ago when Jacob moved to Las Vegas, before they got involved with the UFC, they were working together, building up for years. They've known each other forever. Dana White didn't even have the courtesy to call him. He had someone else call him and say, we're letting you loose, you're gone. Here's what I'm asking you to do. Go on Twitter and put this. Pound UFC did Stitch wrong. That's STITCH. STITCH. Right? And then put pound bring back Stitch. That's all I'm asking you to do. Do it 1 or 2 times today, 1 or 2 times tomorrow. If you can, do it on your Facebook too. And the last thing I'm going to ask you to do, third thing, is ban the UFC. If you have a fight pass, cancel it for 3 months. If you can't do it for at least 1 month, do not watch the next UFC fight. Don't watch UFC 190. I love Ronda, and I know TJ's next fight's coming up. I love these people. But you know the thing about it, I love the UFC. That's like my #1 sport. In fact, that's the only sport I ever watch. That's it. But you know what? It's just too much, and I'm asking you guys as a favor, if you could do that too, I would really appreciate it. And I think here's the deal. If I didn't mention it, there's a firestorm building, and I think right now Dana White's going, "Oh shit, we fired the wrong dude." Not only did you fire the wrong dude, you did it for zero reason. He was doing an interview. He wasn't trying to be negative. In fact, if you look at what he said, he didn't say anything negative about the UFC at all. He just said we lost our money and we're not going to get reimbursed from Reebok. You know, it's like, why is it so bad? The other fighters have mentioned that. Anyways, I'll see you soon. This is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. And I want to thank the people who just recently bought my book. I don't want to give your name out for privacy reasons. And I'm also rewriting the bonus section, sex signals, and I'm putting it in book form, because before it was like 2 or 3 pages. It was nothing. I'm putting it in book form, and right now it's about 20 pages, I believe. I got to go back and count. In fact, it's right here actually. Hold on. You know what? Never mind. There's something in the way. All right. So here's the point. Get the book now, because when I finish this book, buy the book. Crack the Female Code at crackthefemalecode.com. While it's on sale, I include the 2 bonuses for free, and I'm also throwing in a couple other things. But once I finish this book with sex signals, I'm charging $10 for that book, okay? You are not going to get that with a free bonus. And if you buy Crack the Female Code right now, before I finish the sex signals book, the second edition of it, I will also send that to you for free when I'm done, okay? Hey, this is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. Please go to your Twitter and put pound bring back Stitch, STITCH. Thank you. I very much so appreciate it. And I want to thank all you people for following me on YouTube. It has really made a huge difference for my business. And I will see you soon at the next seminar. I'm rewriting my website, almost done, so close. Hopefully in a week, the whole thing will be done. The prices will be up. I'm going to give good prices for the summer of 2015 only, and then it's going back up. See you soon.